Hey guys, I'm Dust, and lately I've been playing a bit of Path of Exile. Partially because I like to suffer, and partially because I like to kill stuff. Lots of stuff. In many random ways. Which is made possible by the game's incredible amount of skills. Well, for me most of them include spinning, summoning spinning blades, spinning with lots of eyes, raising the dead, spinning with lightning, summoning burning head, more than one. They do explode, that's fun and all. Some meta stuff, and best of all, walking. Just walking through 100% delirious, extremely juiced maps, watching the enemies explode into glorious chaos damage and loot on a 4K monitor in 5 FPS while frying bacon on top of your PC. But now the question stands, how do we get to this point? And why would we choose to abandon our League starter? Well, the second question is easy. Mostly because it's goddamn slow. Partially because you decided to build Kaum's roots on him, and partially because, well, it's meta and everything's fucking expensive. Which brings us to the point. The build is cheap. Really cheap. You only need 2 unique items to play this build. The first unique is the Death's Oath Astral Plate, which is around 3 to 4 chaos, and the second one is a glorious vanity timeless jewel, which should be bathed in the blood of numerous sacrifices in the name of Jibakwa. Jibakwa, I love this. Jibakwa. Amazing. And of course, with higher amounts of currency invested, there will be higher amounts of damage and survivability. The build from the start was actually from last league, and it cost me around 80 exalts. Mostly because of the Headhunter, which is not really needed, but it does make me grow larger, and that is always a plus point. So, now, let's choose our exile. It's gonna be a witch, because I like characters that randomly float. Let's get swept ashore and kill our first enemy, which will be the zombie that gives us a first skill. This one skill will be extremely important, because we will use it to kill Hillock and nothing else, and then we're gonna throw it away. Enter Cosmic Arrow. The main damage skill of this build, this case level 30, will be linked onto vicious projectiles, of course not awakened early on, later on if you can afford it, you will awaken it. Swift Affliction support, the same as before. Awakened Void Manipulation, you see a pattern there. And Empower support, which you won't be able to actually link early on, so for the campaign, just ignore that. And like I said, just try the empowered version, if you can afford it, which I can't. And a concentrated effect support. Sadly, there's no awakened version available here, and all of that you should socket into a bow. Best in slot is a Maraketh bow, hunter influenced, 1 level of socketed gems, increased chaos damage over time, which is a hunter mod, and crafted mods, +2 socketed support gems, and chaos damage over time multiplier, which means your Cosmic Arrow will be level 30, which deals around 2 point something million Shaper DPS. Budget versions, just a 6-link bow, that should be enough. Or through the campaign, 5-link, 4-link, who needs the cheat anyway. So now that we talked about the bow and the gem links, I should say that leveling with Cosmic Arrow is somewhere between counting damage per millennia and completely and utterly annihilating everything that stands in our way, mostly depending on gem level and links. You could also just level with Summon Raging Popcorn and Respect in Act 9, but that would be boring. And have we killed Merveil yet? No? Oh, okay. Alright, let's go over our defensive and utility layers then. We have one cast when damage taken Molten Shell setup, level 6 and level 13 respectively. We have Withering Step on left click linked with a life tap support level 1 or 2. Why that is, I'll come to that one later. Our aura setup will start with a Purity of Elements which you should use from the moment it is available until you got this Pantheon node, because we really don't care about anything else but being frozen. Once you got this, you can swap the Purity of Elements with a Determination. Together with that, we will play a Malevolence, a Defiance banner, with a level whatever Vitality. Make sure it's actually low enough so you can afford to have your curse set up, which will be a Blasphemy, Despair, and once you got the 4th Ascension, we will have the 3-part curse setup: Blasphemy, Despair, and Enfeeble. The Enfeeble will only be available to you after you got the Impresence Onyx Amulet. Don't worry if that sounds confusing. I will have a POB in the description. And that's it for our utility, aura, and curse setup. Back to Mervale.
Oh, I can tell you, we got a doozy on our hands here. The fight is raging, the ZDPS, it is kicking in overdrive. And I can tell you, it is damp and cold in here. But Mervale just hit half HP, so we are making progress. Not much, but it is honest, I guess. Back to you in the studio.
Alright, well that just happened for some reason. Anyways, let's get over to the breastplate. We have, like I said, the Death's Oath, together with a Void Manipulation, preferably Awakened, Swift Damage support. This one is actually Awakened, and it's actually Swift Affliction support. A less duration, efficiency, life tap, now this one we're gonna ignore, and increased AoE. Most of the time while I was running red maps, I didn't have that one. So, yeah, who cares? Now, back to the Life Tap. Life Tap gives a buff, which gives your active skill increased damage. And you can actually activate it with the Withering Step Life Tap for the breastplate. Why that is, I have no idea. But it does work. Look, boom. And now it just deals more damage. Great, ain't it? I also do have a Portal Gem and a Flame Dash. While making our way to Act 9, we kill all 3 of the bandits and ascend into an Occultist. And don't forget to equip your random assessment of free empty axes, which you got from Twitch drops and leaks prior. Yeah, does it do anything? No, but I really do like to look like a fucking Christmas tree. And do not forget to put your cock out. I call him Richard. After entering and killing a beast, killing literal guards, and making our way through the second labyrinth, we enter the aqueducts again. Someone made a real mess here. It was us. We killed the beast. It's the blood of the beast. It was us. But we really do not care, because we get to level here until level 62, which is the moment we have all been waiting for. Now we can equip our Death's Oath and a glorious Vanity Jewel, bathed in some blood sacrificed for Jabakwa. Like previously mentioned, they could have actually just used the blood in the aqueducts, but who cares? Now just take a picture of that. Just a girl with her cock. Look at him, he just lives for the camera. I call it the Richard picture. Now, if only there was a way to shorten that one. But alas, it shall not be, I guess. So now, let's talk gear and gear upgrade. After the 2 necessary uniques, there are some things you should upgrade, sooner rather than later. First one is the Impresence Onyx Amulet, which makes your Despair Curse take no aura cost, which means you can actually run the double curse setup with the Enfeeble and the Despair. I mean, this was the bow I was first running red maps with, and this is literally a white bow. A white 5-link, because I can't use one of those sockets because I didn't have the Empower support, which would be the 5th upgrade, the Empower support, which actually scales our damage way more than anything else. After that, you should get Spell Suppression gear, which means evasion, evasion, and evasion. So we can cap our evasion at 100%, which I didn't do at this time, but let's just say we get there finally. Helm Enchantment would be increased curse effect of Despair. 30 would be perfect. I only got 20, so who cares? +2 level of Socketed Aura Gems, which is achievable with the Essence of Delirium. Just spam a few of those and just take the best one you get. Get a increased chaos damage quiver and craft some resistances onto them. Get a random ring that will fix your resistances because for some reason you decide to play some magic find gear randomly. This is actually the most important item in the entire game. It gives you a kill count. Amazing. Now, flasks. Some random assessment of flasks. Corrupted Blood would be pretty cool. I mean, this is literally the only debuff that we are dying to. The Forbidden Taste flask with the used when you take a savage hit, which literally saves your ass all the time. And it doesn't even have downside since we are capping our chaos res. Yeah, and a speed flask. It makes you go fast. Now, instead of this helmet, you could actually run the Viridi's Veil. Viridi's Veil? Ain't that the god of Kid Icarus? Whatever. Together with a magic ring instead of the magic find setup. Most people do actually run the Asena's Gentle Touch gloves on this build, but there are actually people walking here. But from my personal testing, I do have to say, those don't do much. They make more explosions, but it really doesn't matter. It's just from my personal experience though. So you could actually play those, but I mean, they're pretty expensive at the start of the league, so yeah, maybe not. Also a Headhunter. It is amazing. It's always amazing. Does make me roll larger. And the boots and glove we get mostly from this nice gentleman over here, Rock the Dealer. He deals us with the very, very good stuff. And since this build is amazing at clearing, Harvest, Expedition, probably highest, I don't know, I don't fucking care about this shit, Blight, Delirium, and like everything but bosses, this is pretty easy to achieve. Your passive tree should look something like that. Make sure you have this Transcendent Mind Jewel, gives you really, really big dick damage. Don't forget this one, because it will enable your actual aura setup. War Cluster, Born of Chaos, gives you Chaos Res. Wicked Pal, Flow of Life. You should have 2 of those, if you want them, that is. 30% damage, 30% damage, 30% damage. No one cares about the rest. And don't forget the glorious vanity of Chimbakwa in this exact spot.